Hi, I'm RPG ASMR. As you can probably tell, this is going to be my first video, which I'm super excited about, so it's going to be rough around the edges, but a lot of fun. Today, what we are doing is we're going to be going over this choose-your-own-adventure game, Fabled Lands, and in particular, it's this particular book, The War-Torn Kingdom. A choose-your-own-adventure game, if you have not played one, is a little bit different from a normal book, in which you will start on the first page, but you will be able to make decisions. So it's more than just a sort of static book. You actually get to move around, make choices. It's an RPG, so we'll have dice. We'll also have pen and paper, and we'll be able to, do some stuff. Oops, I should not have done that, but that's okay. So it's an RPG, it's a book, it'll be fun. This is, as you can probably tell, totally unscripted. Like I said, first video, triggers wise, I like things that are fast. I'm probably going to tend to talk pretty fast, and I sort of prefer soft speaking, but sometimes I might whisper as well. It just sort of depends on the mood and what's happening. I like to switch between things. I like to suddenly stop and start again, which I know is obviously a pretty big trigger in the community. Other sounds-wise, I like tapping. My favorite trigger is snapping. I also really like breathing and sort of mouth sounds, but I'm not going to do anything too crazy about that. Although I'm a mouth breather, and this is super lo-fi, I've literally just mounted my phone on top of this thing. So don't take this too seriously. It's just going to be me and you, paper, pen, and dice, whatever. We'll see how it ends up. I have no idea how long this is going to be. I have no idea how this is going to go, but we will see what happens. Sorry, kind of wasteful, but I don't think there was a way we could have salvaged that paper. Okay, Fabled Lands, The War-Torn Kingdom by Dave Morris and Jamie Thompson. I have not read the rules yet. Well, I've kind of skimmed them, but we're going to read them through together. Here's a map of the place. I do not know where we're starting. Alright, first published in 1986. I think this is a print-on-demand book, so actually, if we look in the back here, it'll say made in the United States, North Haven, Connecticut, September 10th, 2023. I think, yeah, they might literally do this to order, so it's like whenever you order on Amazon, that's when they print it out, which is why it was quite cheap. I think something like $10. There are a lot of other Fabled Lands. Fabled Lands 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We start with the War-Torn Kingdom, but there's 5 other books, and I believe you can sort of choose one. Okay. How does this game work? It is a solo role-playing game. There are a bunch of books. We can start with any one of those books, and we're starting with The War-Torn Kingdom. We have 6 abilities: Charisma, Combat, Magic, Sanctity, Scouting, and Thievery. And there are some professions to choose. These different professions, the only difference between them, as I can tell, is the difference between these starting abilities. The priest, for instance, seems to have a very high sanctity. The mage obviously has a high magic. The rogue has high thievery. The troubadour has very high charisma and seems quite balanced in stats. The warrior seems quite balanced in stats but has high combat. And the wayfarer has really good scouting. I think I'm going to pick either a troubadour or a warrior. The troubadour's stats seem pretty balanced between everything. Okay. We also have stamina. I think stamina is just HP. The stamina level will change, and we start with 9 stamina. Let me make a note of that, because we are going to have to make a character sheet in a second. And we start at the first rank, as it says right here. You start at the first rank, put that down on your character sheet. We will slowly level up, start as an outcast, commoner, guild member, blah, 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 all the way to Duke/Duchess. You can have 12 possessions, so let me write that down. 12 possessions. 16 shards in cash. I have a sword, a leather jerkin of defense +1. A map. Okay. And it says that, it'll help us out when we're actually reading the text by knowing what refers to what, if they're a possession, because they'll be in boldface. Your defense. Okay, your defense score is equal to combat plus your rank plus the armor that you are wearing. Oops, I just did that. Okay, defense. Maybe I should have a sheet with all of this written down. That's okay. Defense is equal to combat plus rank plus armor bonus. So because I think we start out with this leather jerkin, we'll start with the defense +1. Okay, when we're fighting an enemy, that was risky. We will roll 2 dice and add the combat score. If we roll higher than the enemy's defense, we need to do that, and the number above is the number of stamina they lose. If they go to 0, he's defeated. Otherwise, he will strike back, and he will use the same procedure. This will go on and on. So, for instance, you are third ranked character with a combat score of 4, and you have to fight a goblin with these stats. If you begin with your attack, you add your combat score to the combined dice, which is 8. So 8 plus combat score of 4 is 12. That's 5 more, so it loses 5 stamina. It has 6 stamina, so it has 1 stamina. It'll roll a 6. Add to 11, attack score of 11, blah blah blah. My defense is 9, I'll lose 2 stamina because my stamina level is combat score plus rank plus, okay. There are code words. Code words will help us figure stuff out. Okay. Yeah, code words are sort of like quests. You sort of know what that will help us do. Okay, abilities can never go above 12. There's no stamina limit. It doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. There's only 1 bonus to each skill. You can go back to entries, and you can only have 1 combat blessing. There are quick rules here. We're going to come back to these rules. Let's first do our character sheet. Okay, there's name, profession, blah, 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 blah. This is the template. And over here, this will show all of these code words. I know the setup is kind of scuffed, but you can hopefully see that. There's also a ship manifest, which is really cool. I guess we might be able to have our own ship, but we're not going to worry about that for now. I do not. Ooh, pardon me as I move around. I think we're going to make our own adventure sheet on this legal pad. So we are going to write a name, a profession, and let's just go with a troubadour for now. Troubadour. And we need to write down our rank and our defense. And I'm going to try to make sure there's room, because since we're using pen, we need to cross stuff out. We have the ability here. So we have what? Charisma, combat, magic, sanctity, scouting. Oof, I am terrible at writing. Stamina. When unwounded, stamina, I'm just going to do max at current. I think we start with what? 9 stamina. So let me write that. 9 stamina, rank 1. Money. Possessions. Let's write that down. Maybe like right around here. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds really good. 12 max. Maybe I'll just put this here. And we have a sword. which gives def plus 1, and a map. And down here, maybe we'll put money, and we'll just leave that for now. And then later we'll add code words, or maybe I'll put that right here, code words. So in total, this is what we have: name, profession, troubadour, rank, defense, which I'm going to fill out in a second, abilities, stamina, possessions, and code words / money. And money we start with 16 shards. 16 shards. Alright. So they said, going back to the front, defense is equal to combat score. So we need to find out a combat score. Back to the front, we're going to play the troubadour. We're going to play a charismatic roguey type character. Charisma of 6, combat of 3, magic of 4, sanctity of 3, scouting of 2, and thievery of 4. I don't know what name. What name are we going to go with? I don't know what a fantasy name is like. Okay, something legal pad. Let's just do Legpa. No, that's a terrible name. Leg. I'm not going to do Legolas, obviously, but Legops. That's such a stupid name. But let's do that. Lego PS, maybe Legops. Okay. Defense score is equal to combat 3 plus your rank, which is 1, so it's 4 plus the armor bonus of +1 because we have a jerkin, so we have defense of 5, stamina of 9, current stamina of 9. Let's start. Sorry, I know that was really long. I will probably have a timestamp, so you can skip around. Okay, quick rolls. Use an ability, roll 2 dice, and add your score in the ability. So for instance, if we have a charisma roll, we do 6, we roll, we got a 6, so the total is 12. We need to exceed the level of, or the difficulty of this, which is 10. So we just rolled a 12, so that is awesome. Combat rolls is enemy's defense score. We roll a combat roll higher than their defense score. The difference between our combat roll and their defense score is the amount of damage you do. Okay, let's start. The approach of dawn. We start at 1 here. The approach of dawn has turned the sky a milky green, like jade. The sea is a luminous pane of silver. Holding the tiller of your sailing boat, you keep your gaze fixed on the glittering constellation known as the Spider. It marks the north, and by keeping it to port, you know you are still on course. The sun appears in a trembling burst of fire at the rim of the world. Slowly, the chill of night gives way to brazen warmth. You lick your parched lips. There is a little water sloshing in the bottom of the barrel by your feet, but not enough to see you through another day. Sealed in a scroll case tucked into your jerkin is the parchment map your grandfather gave you on his deathbed. You remember his stirring tales of far sea voyages, of kingdoms beyond the western horizon, of sorcerers' islands and ruined palaces filled with treasure. As a child, you dreamed of nothing else but the magical quests that were in store if you, too, became an adventurer. You never expected to die in an open boat before your adventures even began. Securing the tiller, you unroll the map and study it again. You hardly need to. Every detail is etched into your memory by now. According to your reckoning, you should have reached the east coast of Harkuna days ago. Let me see if we can find Harkuna here. Harkuna. Well, there's old Harkuna. What about current Harkuna? Maybe this is Harkuna. A pasty gray blob splatters on the map. After a moment of stunned surprise, you look up and curse the seagull circling directly overhead. Then it strikes you. Where there's a seagull, there may be land. You leap to your feet and scan the horizon. Sure enough, a line of white cliffs lies a league to the north. Have you been sailing along the coast all this time without realizing the mainland was so close. Steering towards the cliffs, you feel the boat shudder across rough waves. A howling wind whips plumes of spindrift across the sea. Breakers pound the high cliffs. The tiller is yanked out of your hands. The little boat is spun around out of control and goes plunging in towards the coast. You leap clear at the last second. There is the snap of timber, the roaring crescendo of the waves, and then silence as you go under. Striking out wildly, you try to slip clear of the razor-sharp rocks. For a while, the undertow threatens to drag you under, then suddenly a wave catches you and flings you contemptuously up on the beach. Battered and bedraggled, you lie gasping for breath until you hear someone walking along the shore towards you. Wary of danger, you lose no time in getting to your feet. Confronting you is an old man clad in a dirty loincloth. His eyes have a feverishly bright look that is suggestive of either a mystic or a madman. Get the code word Auric and then turn to 20. So, let's pull out our sheet. Code words. Go into that one. Auric. Alright. We are going to turn down to page 20. Well, not page 20, but rather the 20th thing right here. Well, what have we here, friends? Asked the old man. He seems to be talking to someone next to him, although you are certain he is alone. Looks like a washed-up adventurer to me, he says, in answer to his own question. All wet and out of luck. He carries on having a conversation with himself, a conversation that quickly turns into a heated debate. He is clearly quite mad. Excuse me. Excuse me. You shout above the hubbub in an attempt to grab the old man's attention. He stops and stares at you. Is this the Isle of the Druids? You ask impatiently. Isle of the Druids. Where do you see that? Isle of the Druids. Oh, right here. Isle of the Druids. So this is Mouth of Harkoon. We were going to Harkoona? Maybe somewhere around here, but I guess we are here. So it is up to me to welcome you to Harkoona, but I think you may have much more to do here than is written in the stars that someone like you would come. Your destiny awaits you. Follow me, young adventurer. The old man turns smartly about and begins walking up a path towards some hills. You can see some sort of monolithic stone structure atop one of them. Come on, I'll show you the gates of the world, the old man babbles. Sort of a typical RPG start, although we shall see. So we have three options. We could follow him and turn to 192. We can explore the coast and turn to 128, or head into the nearby forest, which means we turn to 257. Now, I don't know about you, but every time you play an RPG and an old man suddenly comes up to you when you're washed up along the shore, you typically end up getting something super powerful from them. So we are going to turn to 192. And maybe in the future we'll actually roll for this to see which one we do. But for now, we're going to roll. We're going to go to 192. Alright, 192. During your short trip upward, the old man regales you with tales of your destiny and fate, continuously arguing with himself as he does so. You reach a hill crowned with a circle of large obsidian standing stones. Despite the bitter wind that blows across these hills, the stones are unweathered and seem almost nearly lain. Here are the gates of the world, says the mad old man. The stones are laid in such a way that they form three archways, and each carven with mystic symbols and runes of power. Each gate will take you to a part of the world of Harkoona, though I know not where, explains the old man. Abruptly he turns around and sets off down the hill, babbling to himself. His voice fades as he descends the hill, leaving you alone with the brooding stones and the howling wind. Turn to 65. Oh boy, I guess there's a lot that we could do now. is we have these teleportation gates. There are 3 stone gates engraved with ancient runes. Each gate is marked with a name: Yellowport, Warlock City, and Wishport. From here you can see the coast and the whole of the island, which is heavily forested. So I guess we didn't have to follow him. We could have just gone straight up to the coast or the forest. There's these little archways we can go to. It seems like this will take us to actual cities. Since we're already here, let's explore the coastline. So we'll turn to 128. You make your way around the coast. The interior of the island, however, seems to be heavily forested. After a while, however, you come to a bay in which a couple of ships are anchored. A small settlement nestles on the beach, and you make your way towards it. Turn to 195. Gain the code word Aspen if you do not already have it. So we have Aspen and Orc as code words. The trading port is a small village set up here by enterprising settlers from the mainland. Its main export appears to be furs from the forest. The mayor, a fat, genial man who greets you personally, insists that one day the trading post will be a thriving town. There is not a lot here yet, however. A small market, a quay, the settlers' houses, and a shrine to Lacuna, the huntress, goddess of nature. So there's a lot of options we can do here. Move this up a little bit. We can visit the shrine to Lacuna, visit the market, visit the quayside, visit the Green Man Inn, climb the hill overlooking the town, or go into the forest. Let's go to the shrine. 5:14:4. Ooh, the shrine is set in a wooded grove. Birds twitter in the trees, and a deer darts away into the forest as you approach. A priestess is tending to a low altar where food and drink has been laid out in honor of Lacuna, the goddess of the wilderness. She is the patron of hunters, trappers, woodsmen, and all those who seek oneness with nature. We can become an initiate of Lacuna, renounce the worship of Lacuna, seek a blessing, talk to the priestess, or leave the temple. So I guess this is one of the games where you can choose a religion. We are a troubadour, which means I guess we like play music, romp around, sort of like a bard. So maybe we will not worship a huntress goddess. Let's talk to a priest. 470, priestess rather. 471. If you have the code word, animal, turn to 369. If not, read on. The priestess, dressed in silken robes and wearing a wreath of oak leaves, says, "I have need of an adventurer like yourself. For arcane reasons involving the secret mysteries of Lacuna, I need the tusk of a boar, a were-boar, in fact. I believe they can be found in the forest of the Forsaken in northern Golnir. Hunt down a were-boar and bring me a boar's tusk. In return, I will teach you how to be a better scout. If you accept the mission, take the code word animal." So let's do that. Well, all of our code words start with A. In any case, we have to go to 5:44, and we talk to her. We're going to leave the temple now. Gain the code word Aspen, and we are now back into the little trading post. Let's go into the forest and see what lies for us there. Ooh, we can make our first roll. Okay, the trees are closely packed, leaning together as if in conference, whispering quietly amongst themselves. Birds twitter in the distance, and slivers of sunlight lance down through the musty gloom. As you proceed along a forest track, you think you hear a rustling in the bushes. Later, you spot a shadowy figure darting through the trees. Or was it your imagination? An animal snuffling sound right behind you makes you spin around, but there's nothing here. We need to make a scouting roll at difficulty 10. Our scouting is not great. It's 2. So we have to get pretty lucky here. So let's do our first roll. Maybe I'll roll up here. excuse me, I love the sound of dice. So we got, I promise you I didn't change this, we got a 10. The difficulty is 10, and we have scouting, so 12. We need an 11 to pass the check, so we do indeed pass the check. So we will go to 630. You struggle deeper into the forest until you come to a thick wall of impenetrable thorn bushes. Circling it, you find there is a break to the hedge, but it is filled by a big tree. To your surprise, a face forms in the trunk and speaks in a woody voice. None can pass. Be gone, human. If you have the code word apple, turn to 594. If not, you can return to the trading post, attack the tree, or try to persuade it to let you pass. Now we're going to be nice and ask to pass. You explain what a tree lover you are and that your heart has always been at home in forests. You portray yourself as the greenest adventurer ever. Make a charisma roll at difficulty 10. Add 3 if you are a wayfarer, and 1 if you are an initiate of Lacuna. So we're a troubadour, not a wayfarer, although I was thinking about it. Difficulty 10 roll. Let's make it. So 3 and 1, 4. Our charisma was 6. So that's 10. So that's a failed roll, I believe. So let's turn to 410 and see what happens. Ooh, what a load of rotten leaves, exclaims the tree. Anyone can see you're as bad as the next human. In fact, I'd say you're probably a lumberjack. Now, get lost. So we can attack the tree or get lost. Let's go to 678. We're not desperate enough to actually start fighting, although I do want to see what actual combat is like. If you have the code word Aspen, turn to 195. So we're back to the town of Aspen. I mean, I wonder, are we allowed to sort of just make the same roll again? Like, just go into the forest again, make a scouting check and do that again? That would seem a bit weird if we were to do that right now, so house rules, we are not going to do that. A narrow path leads up the hill, the top of which is crowned with a circle of large obsidian standing stones hewn from solid rock. Despite the bitter wind that blows across these hills, the stones are unweathered and seem but newly laid. This was the place the old man showed us. We explored the coastline when we saw the town. We headed into the forest and we failed the check against the tree. There's Yellowport, Marlock City, and Wishport. I don't know which one we're going to go to, so let's roll a die and see, and we'll go to one of these arches. 1 to 2 is Yellowport, 3 to 4 is Marlock City, and 5 to 6 is Wishport. Alright, 5, so we go to Wishport, turn to 330. Uh-oh. You must have Cities of Gold and Glory before you can travel to Wishport, turn back to 65. Alright. I do not have a copy of this. I believe this is the second book, although it's interchangeable. You can sort of go in between them, but we don't have it. So we're going to try it again. Let's say odd is Yellowport, even is Marlock. So 4, that's even number. We're going to go to Marlock Arch, that's 150. You step through the archway. Immediately the symbols on the stone begin to glow with red-hot energy. Your hair stands on end and your body tingles. A crackling nimbus of bright blue-white force engulfs you. The sky darkens and rumbles. Thunder and lightning crash and leap across the heavens. Suddenly your vision fades and momentarily everything goes blank. When your sight returns, you find yourself outside the gates of a huge fortified city. A guard starts in surprise at the sight of you. Then he shakes his head as if to clear it. Sure, he must have imagined what he just saw. The gates open and a troop of heavy cavalry canter past, make way for the Marlock City militia. When they have passed, you turn into the city. Turn to 100. big city. Marlock City. Oh, look at this picture. There's Marlock City. This is a crest which says, "In might we trust." Looks like there's some temples here. There's a huge gate and some sort of market type area. Marlock City is a huge, sprawling metropolis enclosed in a fortified wall to dead built 1,000 years ago by the ancient Shadar Empire. It is the capital city of Saqqara. Marlock City was once known as Saqqar until General Grieve Marlock led the army in bloody revolt against the old king Corin VII and had him executed. The general renamed the city after himself. It is now a crime to call it Saqqar. The general lives in the old king's palace and calls himself the protector general of all of Saqqara. Whereas the old king was corrupt, the general rules with an iron fist. Some people like the regime, others are loyalists, still loyal to Nergan, the heir to the throne, who has gone into hiding somewhere. Outside the city gates hang the bodies of many dead people, labeled around their necks rebels executed by the state for the good of the people. You'd best behave yourself if you don't want to end up like one of them, grates a guardsman, nodding towards the swinging corpses as you pass through the great eagle-headed gates of Marlock City. You can purchase a townhouse in Marlock City for 200 shards. Owning a house gives you a place to rest and to store equipment. If you buy one, cross out 200 shards and tick the box next to the townhouse option. To leave Marlock City by sea, you can go to the Harbor Master. Okay, there's a bunch of different temples we can do. Maybe we will visit the temples and see if there's a god that sort of interests us. There's a temple of Alvir and Valmir. There's Nagil and Sig and Elmir. Let's just go in order and go to 154. The temple of Alvir and Valmir, divine rulers of the House of the Sea, is right on the teeming harbor of Marlock City. Its sea-green marble porticos are draped in 100 silver nets. Brother and sister, Alvir and Valmir roll below the waves. Alvir brings the souls of the drowned in his nets before his sister Valmir for judgment. A swaggering ship's captain emerges from the temple, saying to you in passing, never go to sea without paying your respects to the twin gods, unless you want to sail through a world of storms. We're going to leave the temple and go to 100. And let's try out the temple of Nagil. If you have the code word Agu, turn to 517 immediately, if not read on. Nagil is the lord of the lands of the dead, and his temple in Marlock City is covered in friezes and gargoyles of ornate design, depicting the souls of the dead on their journey to the underworld. Inside it is cool and dark, hung with black velvet drapes. A poster on the wall reads, "Wanted person of unusual resourcefulness. See the temple warden." Let's do that. Let's talk to the temple warden. The warden is in charge of security. We have had an unfortunate accident, he says worriedly. In the crypt below the temple, we sometimes experiment with the corpses of the dead. You know, the occasional zombie, part of the rituals in honor of the particular aspect of Nagil we revere here. It seems like a ghoul has escaped from the pits and is terrorizing the city at night. We'd rather someone like you sort out the problem before the city militia get to it, destroy it, and bring you the ghoul's head. If you want to take up the mission, record the word Agu, search for it at night, says the warden as you leave, turn to 100. So let's add yet another code word. And go back to 100. There is 2 more temples to look at. Maybe not the most interesting right now, but we have 2 more. Sig at 235. The temple of Sig the Cunning, patron of vagabonds, troubadours, lovers, thieves, and rogues, is a ramshackle warehouse in the poor quarter. Inside, however, there is so much wealth it makes you gasp. The idol of Sig, a saturnine, two-faced young human of indistinct sex, is covered in gems. As you can see, we have been made rich by generous donations, says a black-robed priest. So since we're a troubadour, why not become an initiate? Let's go to 437 and do so. Becoming an initiative SIG gives you the benefit of paying less for blessings and other services. Also, you can add 1 to your thievery score, as SIG will watch over your pilfering activities and keep you safe from the law. It costs 50 shards to become an initiate. You cannot become an initiative SIG if you are an initiate of any other temple. If you wish to become an initiate, right SIG, turn to 235. We do not have money, so we can't do that. But now we know. I wonder how much it costs to seek a blessing, but let's seek an audience with this high priest. Let's see what happens. If you have the code word armor, turn to 550 immediately. If not, but you are a rogue, turn to 75. Otherwise, the priest is little say your audience is cut short. Turn to 235. Okay, so not much to do here. Let's leave the temple. Go to 100. There's a lot of places. There's a market, a harbor master, or we can just explore the city. Guess what? That's exactly what I was going to do. Let's go to 138. If you have the code word AQ, turn to 115. We do. So we need to fight a ghoul. If you are on the quest for a new guild to bring it to the hands of the scapegoat, turn to 446. Let's do that. 446. If there is a tick in the box, turn to 226 immediately. If not, put a tick there now and read on. Let's do that. I have a lighter pen. Let me do the lighter pen just so it doesn't bleed through the paper. Okay, you set out that night. Make a magic roll at a difficulty of 10. Well, my magic is 4. So let's get a nice roll here. I love the sound of dice rolling in the hand. We rolled a 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. So that's a successful magic roll. Let's go to 511. Your arcane knowledge tells you much about the undead. Ghouls are known to eat the flesh of the dead as well as the living. They like to make their home in crypts and graveyards, and they never venture out during the day as sunlight burns their pallid undead flesh. Also, they cannot abide a powder of salt and iron fillings mixed together. You can purchase these ingredients for 15 shards at many a market stall. If you make the purchase, note you have salt and iron filings on your character sheet. So we have 16 shards. We could buy this, and that, in fact, seems like it will be a good idea. So I'm not sure if it wants us to actually go to the market, but it seems like we could do this right now, so I'm just going to do this right now. We had 16 shards, and we're going to spend 15 of them, so we now have 1 shard. And in our possessions, we need to add salt and iron filings. Now we're going to start searching the cemetery, so we need to make a scouting roll of difficulty 9. Our scouting is 2. Average roll is what, 7? So we need to be slightly better than average, I think. Okay, 7 plus 2 is 9. And that is unsuccessful. So let's roll to 316 and see what happens. You have no luck in tracking down the ghoul. The next day you hear a rumor during the rounds of the temple. A ghoul was found and destroyed by an adventuring priestess of Tirani. Apparently the temple and the guild rewarded her handsomely. Looks like you were pipped at the post. Turned to 100. Wow, that is unlucky for us. We just wasted some money, although maybe these salt and iron filings will come to use later. What happened when we explored? We can just do a normal exploration, I think. Or we can do any one of these, little explorations down there. Let's see which one we would like to do. Let's let's try exploring the city again. And since we don't have the ague, I mean, we do have ague. Let's see what happens if we turn to 115, because it didn't tell us to get rid of McGill. Yeah, go to 226, so let's do that. 226. Oh, okay. You take a stroll through the streets. Moloch City has a busy nightlife. There's a street of entertainers, a residential corner, and a barracks. Let's go to the street of entertainers, 129. Psst, come here, Fred. Someone whispers from the shadows. Go over to him, turn to 641. Want to try your luck in the gambler's den? Ask a short man dressed as a mercenary bodyguard. Just 5 shards. Well, we don't have 5 shards. We have 1 shard. I'm going to go back to 100. Let's try Shadar Tor. I don't know what that is. Or actually, let's go in order. So let's head east towards Trefoil, which is 377. And see what happens. I do want to see what a combat is like. The road between Marlock and Trefoil is well maintained with regular guard posts. The Sakarans are nothing if not efficient. Roll a die. Alright, so we rolled a 2, which means a bad omen. Lose 1 blessing, but we don't have anything. So let's try again. Actually, no, I guess we don't have to roll again. We just get to choose if we want to go to Trefoil or Marlock City or north into the Cursed Moor. Cursed Moor does not sound like a nice and safe area. But let's go to Trefoil. 250. The city of Trefoil is a terrifying vision of apocalyptic destruction. It was once a thriving crossroads town, but now is a burnt-out hulk. It was almost razed to the ground when it declared for the king and tried to hold out against the army of Grief Marlock during the recent civil war. It was stacked by the general's mercenaries. General Marlock is now trying to rebuild it. Craftsmen are hard at work. I can visit a wizard, but I don't have that. I don't have that code word. So we can go to Yellowport, but that seems weird. Let's just take the road north. That should probably give us an encounter that we could do. I want to get into a fight. 558. You travel the much-traveled road that connects Trefoil and Karan Baru. The traffic mostly consists of convoys of troops and supplies. Well, we could go back to Trefoil. We can go to the Cursed Moor. Okay, screw it. Let's just go to the Cursed Moor and see if we die. Maybe it's not that bad. 175. There's a tick in the box. Go to 673. If not, put a tick now and read on. Alright. Tick here. The great rolling expanse of blasted heath stretches before you. Gray clouds hang over a mournful, dirty, water-colored plain studded with rocky outcrops and low hills. A raven flutters to the ground nearby, eyeing you curiously. His brothers call loudly into the echoing sky. Dusk falls, and in the dim twilight, a herd of horses come streaking out of the night straight at you. As they near, it seems that their hooves are not touching the ground, and from their manes travel wispy clouds of sparks like tiny stars. I want to try mounting one of them. Why not? So we can get out of the way to mount one of them. We are going to try mounting these ghostly mares. You stand your ground. The ghostly horses stream past you on either side, neighing wildly at the sky. Nimbly you leap at one and manage to wrap your arms around its neck and swing on its back. The horse feels quite solid, but appears to be a luminous pale green color. You look up at a cloud of sparks emanating from the horse's mane just in time to see a rocky wall of a low hill leaping out of the evening mist. Your horse is galloping full tilt right into it. I wonder what happens if we hold on. That doesn't sound like a good idea. But let's try leaping off. So turn to 28. jump into the air and hit the ground reeling. You come up bruised but alive in time to see the horses ride straight into the rocky wall of a low hill. To your amazement, they pass into the rock and disappear. Silence falls across the land like a blanket. There is no sign of them, not even tracks. You camp for the night and the next day set off once more. So we can go north across the country, east to the road, or to Trefall or Monarch City, or to the River Grim. Let's go north across the country. You are crossing the western wilderness and an expanse of wild, sparsely populated countryside. A few trappers and woodsmen make a living from the natural resources of the area. A tall spire of rock, a towering anomaly of geology, rises up into the clouds dominating the horizon. A local hunter tells you it is known as Devil's Peak and that the summit is infested with demons. That does not sound like a good idea, playing with demons. Let us try to enter this forest of Laroon. 47. The forest of Laroon is a mighty swath of densely packed trees, a slice of the primordial nature in the middle of busy, industrious Saqqara. We should go deeper. Let's see what happens. 596. You thread your way through the ranks of trees. In places, the canopy almost blocks out the sunlight completely, and you are wandering in deep shadow, haunted by the cries of the creatures of the forest. If you have an oak staff, turn to 653. If not, read on. You hack your way through the undergrowth until you stumble across an old ruin. Creepers and forest moss have grown over it, but you see mask-like faces set into the walls, glaring down at you as if in angry outrage at your intrusion. You come to a massive stone slab, clearly a door. Set in the middle of it, a round granite face, the visage of a sleeping demon. Suddenly an eye pops up and regards you curiously. "By the tentacles of Tantalon," explains the face in a gravelly voice. "A human. I haven't seen you lot in 100 years." An expression of surprise forms on its rocky features. "What do you want anyway?" "Just passing through," you comment airily. "Well, you can't pass through me unless you know the password. That was given to me by Astralis, the Wizard King, 1,000 years ago by Everett. This is his tomb." "How do I find the password in?" "Well," says the demon door, "Astralis was a wizard, so why don't you ask some wizards?" "Where would I find some wizards?" "How would I know?" replies the door. "I've been stuck here for 1,000 years. So it is time for us to leave. There's Bronze Hills. Maybe we'll go there. 110. You are walking through the Bronze Hills. Virtually the whole area has been given over to mining. Everywhere quarries and mine shafts abound. It is a horrible expanse of torn up earth. Hardly any areas of green are left. Great heaps of excavated rock, leached of their useful materials, mar the landscape. You find a quarry that's open to the public. You can dig for an hour in a silver mine for 50 shards. Well, I don't have that much money. There's Karan Baru. We were just in the forest of Laroon. There's this River Grim or the wilderness. Let's head to the River Grim. 333. You are on the east bank of the River Grim. Roll 1 die. Let's roll 1 die. We got a 3, so nothing happens. So we could cross the bank, but we need cities of gold and glory, and we don't have it. We could go into the forest of Laroon, but that was where we just were, right? Pretty sure. Let me check. 47. Yeah, we were there. We were just there. We can follow the river north or follow the river south. let's go north, because I don't recognize 123. So I don't think we've been there yet. 123. This is the east bank of the River Grim near its source, the spine of Harkoon far to the north. You reach a ford where you can travel to the west bank for 1 shard. You could try swimming across instead, but the current is strong. You need to succeed at a scouting rule to do so. Well, I can't do that because I don't have this book. So let's go to 3. 3. You have come to the foothills of the spine of Harkoon in northwest of Saqqara. The view is impressive, a massive wall of forested mountains whose rocky white-flanked peaks soar skywards into the clouds. These parts of the mountains are unclimbable, but you notice a large cave at the bottom. Of course, we're going to go to the cave. 665. 665. 665. You enter the cave. It is very large and dark. Unfortunately, it is a lair of a pack of wolves. A very big pack of wolves. If you have a wolf pelt, go to 516. If not, go to 280. Let's see what happens in our... Okay, there are too many wolves to contend with. You withdraw before they get angry. Turn to 3. We still haven't had a fight, although we've had options to have a fight. South into the wilderness 276. Wasn't that the thing we were just at? Let me see. Okay, well, no, it's not. There was the mountains, which we just were. There was the River Grim, which we've also visited. We can head northeast to 201. We visited all of these except the castle. And heading northeast. So let's try 201. 201. Okay, there's a lot of troops, and there's a war in the north. Now maybe let's just go to the Citadel. 271. 271. Look at this, the Citadel of Velis Corin. I think... Oh, well, we can't enter the Citadel right here. Because we do not have the Plains of Howling Darkness. You arrive at the Pass of Eagles, a thin chasm sliced right through the spine of Harkoon, as if Turanai himself had split the mountains with his sword. A vast citadel has been built right across the southern end, bottoming up so no one can travel into Saqqara without passing through the castle. So we can't enter. There's a fort we can go to, 518. So let's go to 518. You are on the road between the Citadel of Veliscorn and Fort Marith. This is rarely traveled. The military guard posts are few and far between. Roll 1 die. 1. So we lose 10 shards. I don't have 10 shards, but I have 1 shard. So I guess we unfortunately have to go to 0 shards. And now we have a number of choices. There was Fort Mareth. There was Disaster Bay, which we haven't been to, so let's go to Disaster Bay. You arrive at Disaster Bay, where you find a community of fishermen. Judging by their wealth, they also make a living by other means, usually by looting the ships that get wrecked in the storming waters of the bay. So they can take us to Yaramura, but that needs the other book. There is mountains we can go to, or a road. Let's go to the mountains, 244. One of the things, as you sort of flip on, kind of bothers the skin on your fingers. You have come to the foothills of the spine of Harkoon. There is a stream where you drink your fill and replenish your water supply. I guess sort of the thing is, this is my first time playing this system, Fabled Lands. It seems like there's a lot of hubs, and you need a lot of keywords in those hubs. You sort of need the right setup in order to do these fights, in order to get set up. So let's maybe we just should choose a hub, but we can't go to the Citadel because that's closed. Disaster Bay, we were just there, and we couldn't do much there. I think it was just like more areas to go to, and that's another thing where it's like a lot of these encounters. It's like you get a lot of options, but you can sort of seemingly go to different hubs over and over again. Anyways, we need to make a scouting roll. Difficulty 12, and we don't have climbing gear, and our scouting is 2, so we need a very, very high roll here. And what did you know? 10, scouting of 2. So that's literally 12. So that's 1 off. So let's go to 438. That is really annoying. That was like such a good roll, but just not good enough. The climb is too arduous for you. Climb back down. Go to 244. We are at 244 again. We can head south to 518. Let's see what that is. Back to this area. Make a roll. We rolled a 6, so we get a healing of 3 stamina points, but we haven't lost any stamina points yet, and we cannot exceed our total, I believe. Let me double check. Stamina. Yeah, we can't exceed it. Let's go to the wild country at 60 and see. Let's see what we can do. 60, you are crossing in the wild country of northeast Saqqara. Roll. Alright. Roll. We get a 1. So we get caught in an animal trap and lose 2 stamina. So current 9, go down to 7. And we can go north, south, or west. We've been to 518. I think we've been to 201. I don't know about 458. Hopefully we're not going in 2 circles. We kind of are. We can head south to the farmlands or into the country. Let's try 548. You're crossing into fertile farmland where much of the food is grown to feed the army. Little farmsteads dot the countryside, and the plowed fields have the appearance of a patchwork quilt. Roll 1 die. So let's roll. We rolled a 2. So we're mistaken for a murderer, and we need to flee to 474. We are in the cold, bleak mountains. So let's climb into them. See, as we're here. It is a tough climb, but not impossible. If you have climbing gear, go to 652. If not, make a scouting roll. Difficulty 10. Ooh, we rolled a 10 plus 2. Scouting roll is 12, so that's successful. So we go to 652. Alright, 652. You clamber until you come to a mountain track. It rises up between a cleft and the rock ahead of you. A man steps out in front of you. He's clearly a soldier, but his clothes are rough and ready as if he's been living here. I don't have King Champion or Ambuscade, nor do I have Bark. He looks at you critically. He signals that he wants to parley. Okay, let's parley. 557. Who is the rightful ruler of Saqqara? General Grieve Marlock or the son of the old King Negan Corrin? Now, I'm going to bet this guy's in the mountains. He doesn't support Marlock. Probably supports Corrin. I'm going to say 631. Just to see if we get a fight and see what happens. The soldier nods. Suddenly he shouts something and several archers pop up from behind rocks and start shooting at you. An arrow embeds in your shoulder. Blah, blah, blah. Lose 3 HP. So we're at... I should have lied. That's stupid of me. Okay, 7 minus 3 is 4. Well, I couldn't know. I mean, I kind of wanted to fight, but I didn't know I would get ambushed. But maybe I should have intuited that he would attack me. Okay, so we need to roll 1 die, and we have 4 HP. So if we roll a 1 or a 2, we are dead. Let's see what happens. This might be the end of our quest for today. Oh my goodness. We rolled a 1. What? There's no way that's like this. Alright, 4 minus 6. Oh no. 4 minus 6 is -2, which is less than 0, which means we are dead. Wow, we accomplished basically nothing. We talked to the old man, there was the teleporters, we went into that city. What city was it called? Marlock City. We tried to find the ghoul got taken away by someone else. And, what else? Mostly just traveling around different areas. We lost our money. We didn't even get to pledge a god. We didn't even get a fight. Unfortunately, we just got destroyed by this guy. I should have just said Corin. But that's okay. That was our first introduction. I have no idea how long this video is. I'm guessing like 40 minutes to an hour. Made some unfortunate decisions. Had some unlucky rules. But all in all, you know what? First time. And there's always time for a second playthrough. First video, hopefully it was at least somewhat interesting. And this has been Fabled Lands, the War-Torn Kingdom. If you would like for me to continue working on this or to look at some different RPGs, I have a sort of a list of things that may be interesting. I also have a number of solo board games that I might end up doing. But yeah, if that sounds interesting, let me know. Thanks for watching.